Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to WinCAM's coverage of Winchester's Town Election 2014. My name is Alan Iden, and I have the great pleasure to be joined once again by Alan McDonald.
My pleasure entirely. My pleasure entirely.
We're
Nice to meet you.
completely rehearsed and ready to go. Here
Hardly the case, but we are excited to be together again. It's election eve, election night, I mean. Election eve is when we start getting excited, and the chance to be here to talk about the candidates, the election, the issues, and hopefully have a few of the candidates stop in and say hello to us. That would be a nice thing.
Absolutely, and unlike in some years, we actually have a couple of contested races this year.
We have three town-wide elections in front of us that are contested elections.
Right.
We have in Selectmen, we have two for one spot. And for the planning board, we have 3 for 2 spots, and for the library board of trustees, we have 3 for 2 spots. So this is an interesting time, and we have candidates for a town meeting. We'll have the usual turnover, frankly. We usually 10 to 11% of town meeting turns over each and every year. It's as regular as amazing over these 25 to 30 years that we've been watching it. Out of 192 town meeting members, about 20 to 22 turnover every year. And we have 19 in town meeting members. We have 65 seats up for tonight's election. We have 46 incumbents. So at a minimum, we have 19 new names in town meeting this particular year, and there might even be a few challengers who beat incumbents. So it wouldn't surprise if there were more than 20 new members, which is the normal turnover, and great to see the participation, frankly, in the town meeting candidates.
Now, I know you usually research, who's going off town meeting that is not running for re-election.
Particularly with 3 members who retired this year from town meeting that should be on the ballot that weren't, and Chad Riley is one. You'll remember Chad Riley ran for selectman in 2009. That was a year when Forrest Fontana came on. And who else won in 2009? Roger Berman. So that would have been Forrest Fontana and Roger Berman, and Chad Riley came in third, and he was still in town meeting, but he did not go back on the ballot. And Bob Beatty, who is a longtime member in Precinct 7, Bob did not go back on the ballot this year. And Louise O'Donnell, who was in town meeting quite a long time, and Louise didn't go back on. So those 3 in particular I caught. There are some others as well, but those 3, we wish them well and thank them for their service, because it's been, for those 3 particularly, very active.
Right.
And yeah, we did notice that.
Now, the big news is the name at the top of the ballot.
Yes, the big news. And it is a big news. For the first time in 47 years, someone who served 46 in a row, John J. Sullivan is not on the Winchester town ballot. Now, that's a big surprise to all of us. We knew it would have to happen some particular day. And,
for town meeting either.
For town meeting either. And of course, when John originally ran for selectman, because John, for those who may not know, but John was a 3-term selectman from 1968 to 1977, so that when he ran for town moderator in 1977, he had already had 9 years of town-wide service, and he has now served 37 years in a row as town moderator. But when John ran, first of all, you had to also run to be a town meeting member. It wasn't until the town charter came in 1975 that I'll take it back. I'm going the other way. It wasn't until 1975 that you had to run for both town meeting and selectmen. So when that was what I wanted to say. He was automatically a town meeting member when he was selectman. But you're right, he didn't go on the ballot, and he's been very humble in his thanks to everybody for the opportunity to serve this amount of time. He certainly has done an extraordinary job. And he was, up until this day, the longest-serving town moderator in Massachusetts. His friend and mine, too, Tom O'Donnell from Hingham, served 45 years as town moderator, but stepped down in 2012. And when Tom O'Donnell stepped down as Hingham town moderator, it made John Sullivan the longest-serving continuous town moderator in the Commonwealth. So we're pretty lucky to have that kind of service.
It's going to be interesting, as I've reported on town meeting for almost 25 years, all of them under John Sullivan.
Yes, yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see as Peter Haley comes in to put his stamp on it, on that job. And Peter certainly is very sharp, very well-spoken. But it's going to be interesting to see, at least for me, to see a Winchester town meeting without John Sullivan at the helm.
Well, it's true, and both John Sullivan and Peter, of course, very good at the microphone in presenting their cases, and John has all that experience going into town moderator, as Peter does as well. Peter has also had 3 terms of town-wide service, 1 as selectman and 2 as school committee person. So Peter and plenty at town meetings. So he's going in with the same kind of background and experience that John had, frankly, for holding town office and being on the town meeting floor. And as you've already said, expresses himself quite well in making the arguments and quite fair. And Peter Haley's comments in running for town moderator is that his goal, this was in his own interviews with the press, is for fairness and participation at town meeting. And I think he'll be very good at drawing that out, frankly.
Be interesting to see. Be nice if he would come down here and drop in tonight. And of course, we want to emphasize that that's something that we invite all the candidates to come down.
Definitely.
Winning or losing, we invite them to come down here and thank their constituents, their supporters, and chat with us. So hopefully we'll get a visit from some of them tonight. Let's talk about the selectmen race. We've got Steve Powers coming back in after a hiatus from the board.
Well, it's very interesting. You've got 2 veteran candidates for selectmen in this situation, and Steve is 26 years in a row. Well, actually he had a hiatus of a year, but 26 years of town service on the school committee, on the Board of Selectmen. He had a term on the school committee, 4 terms on the Board of Selectmen, and 4 as assessor. And he's in his finishing his 2nd year as in his 4th term on the Board of Assessors right now. And in all of this time, Doug Marmon has been active at town meeting, in the Finance Committee, and of course on the Board of Selectmen and current chairman of the Board of Selectmen. So you've got 2 very seasoned, townwide active folks involved in running for selectmen. Doug Marmon as the incumbent, Steve Powers as the challenger. Certainly Steve Powers very familiar to the seat, held 4 terms worth of being on the Board of Selectmen.
And a familiar name basically all across town.
There's no question that Steve, having been grown up in Winchester, brought up in Winchester, working in Winchester, certainly well known. And I think Doug Marmon has become very well known in his term on the Board of Selectmen. He might not have been as well known for his Finance Committee and town meeting activity, but I think the amount of attention on the issues that the Board of Selectmen dealt with in the last 3 years has really brought his name quite into the front headlights of the town. So the real issue here, I think, for both of them is drawing out their voters. I think the fact, you and I have talked about this, but the number of elections that we've had in the past year or 2, and a lot of special elections. We had a special override election. We had a special election for U.S. Senate because John Kerry moved up to be Secretary of State. So Ed Markey won that. That meant that we had to have a congressional election in our community primary general. And Catherine Clark wins it. That means there's an opportunity for our state representative, Jason Lewis, which is another big thing today, is the election for that state Senate seat. But that was a primary for the state rep and a general. And so now we come to town elections, and even on an unusual day, because it's April 1st, it's not the last Tuesday in March. So all of this, I don't know that we will get a 20% turnout, which means that those candidates who have a very good draw on their group to elect them have got the upper hand. Don't know who that is, but the better organized candidates in a low turnout are the ones who usually prevail.
Yeah, as we spoke earlier, I said I voted at precinct 6 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was the 115th voter. So ran into Mary Ellen Lannon, our town clerk there, and she expressed the opinion, she said we'd be lucky to make a 10% turnout.
Yeah, this is,
So,
well, I think we should do that. We should be at the 15%, and I'm thinking a little higher, but I would not expect it over 20, and it may be more like 15, so we'll see. But I think in precinct 7, where I voted, we were probably close to 15% by the end of the afternoon. So, of course, it'll be different in different precincts, but anyway, that was the situation. And we should mention, we won't probably get the votes in here from the communities of Malden and Wakefield and Stoneham, but Jason Lewis, our state representative for Winchester and Stoneham, is a candidate for state senate against Monica Medeiros, who's a Board of Aldermen member and former school committee member in the city of Melrose. So we've got those two squaring off for state senate. That's a very important election, of course, for this community and all the communities to succeed Catherine Clark from Melrose, who was holding that seat. So, good luck to our local candidate,
Right.
and certainly.
But it's an interesting situation that if you were in precincts 4, 5, 6, and 7,
Right.
you didn't see this ballot.
You didn't, because the state senate district, this is something when they do redistricting, which is every 10 years, to make sure that the 40 state districts across the Commonwealth are relatively equal in numbers of voters. As population shift happens every 10 years when the census takes place, we have to redraw the line. So the fight is always on to have a whole community represented either in the state House of Representatives and or the state Senate. And we didn't win that battle in the last go-round. And it was the first time, certainly in our lifetimes, while we've been voting in the state Senate, that we didn't have an entire community. Winchester was always in either with Medford and Somerville, as most recently, or it was in with Arlington and Woburn and Lexington, or then it went up to Arlington and Burlington, all that. So now we are in the state Senate district for one half with Stoneham, Melrose, Wakefield, Malden. The other half, Medford, Somerville, that sort of thing. So Pat Jalen from Somerville is our state senator for precincts 4, 5, 6, 7. And of course, the winner of tonight will be the state senator for precincts 1, 2, 3, and 8. A very unusual circumstance, that's for sure. But that's where we are. And the next time, I venture to say, if our local candidate is successful, when the next census takes place in 2020, we would have a chance to get back. I don't want to put them on the hot seat, but to get back to have an entire community in a Senate district. We'll see.
Yeah. Now, and you can speak with some authority on this from your own personal.
I took
challenge.
a little jaunt out into the Senate campaign
Yeah.
in 1984, Alan. It was short 30 years ago, and I enjoyed it very much. And I challenged an incumbent from the great town of Arlington, where they had a few more votes than we had here, and the constituents were very, very nice to me in this lovely town, and I didn't do terribly in the other ones, but I didn't do enough. And
Right.
but I enjoyed the run, and always felt being involved in the public life is fun. As John Sullivan would always say, we do it because we enjoy it, and there's an opportunity to help out. So you don't win, you run, you don't win, you do it other ways. There are dozens of ways to serve the public side.
I have fond memories of that. I have a picture on my bookcase at home of a debate that I moderated
Yes.
with you and Richard
Richard Krause, yep,
Richard
yep,
Krause, yep.
He went on to run for state treasurer, and it didn't win that, and got an assignment to be the president of Cape Cod Community College for a short period of time, and I honestly don't know where Dick Krause is now, but that he served another 2 terms in the state Senate after that election.
Yeah. I gotta admit, I'm still trying to get used to this new desk. Where we've got a different desk here than we've had for how many years have we been doing this? Somewhere in the 25 years.
We started in the 1980s, so
somewhere.
It's more than 25 anyway.
Yeah, somewhere between 25 and 30 years, and it's I'm not sure what It is. I think it's curved in a different way, so I find myself twisting around to
No, you look very
talk to
comfortable.
you. But
Very comfortable.
so let's go on. We've got let's talk about our other races here. We've got the assessor. We've got George Anderson coming back for re-election.
George Anderson, talk about perennial candidates. I kind of think George is running for his 12th term as assessor. George was an assessor in the late 70s, 77 to 83 is my memory, a couple of terms, and then took a little time off. But in coming back, I think that I believe this is his 12th time through. I think that George has had over 30 years on the Board of Assessors from the late 70s until now, with just a couple of hiatuses, one maybe 1 year and another one a couple of years. But so he knows what the job is, that's for sure. So no challenge to George, and he's certainly going to be re-elected to the board without any question.
Well, which also raises the question about if Steve Powers wins tonight, he has to give up his seat on the Board of Assessors.
Right, he does. David Arrico and George Anderson and Steve Powers are our Board of Assessors. So if Steve wins tonight, that leaves a vacancy which will be filled by appointment. And we won't have a special election for that. There's 1 year left for Steve's term. If he did happen to win tonight, that would be filled by appointment, and that candidate would have to run again
And that appointment
in 2015.
would be by...
Well, what we do in that, my memory on that is, I'm pretty sure this is the way we did it in the past, is that the two members of the Board of Assessors would meet with the selectmen, and it would be an appointment made by the selectmen and the two assessors. So there'd be 7 votes for the post, 5 selectmen, 2 assessors, so 4 to 3 would be the appointment, or 7 to nothing would be the appointment. But I actually hadn't looked that back up again to be sure that was what. If Wade Welch was sitting here, our town council, he would tell me the answer to that. But that's the way we've done it in the past on some openings, and I think that that's the way it would be.
Okay, Board of Health, we have Kerry Bartlett, a new candidate coming on and unopposed.
Kerry's a new candidate. Richard Maggio was elected 3 years ago when, 3-year term. So Richard Maggio came on and actually did not finish his term. He actually moved away from Winchester at the end of 11, so that left it open. And what happened is that Bridget Stump came in and served the 2 years remaining on Richard Maggio's term, and Kerry Bartlett will be coming into that seat.
Right.
And working with David Heinold and Jessica Pfefferman. Jessica's in her, I think, 2nd term, and David's in his 5th term.
I was going to say, he's been on there a long time.
Board of Health, right, yeah.
Well, Planning Board.
Planning Board is very interesting. I mean, there's so much going on in planning. You look at the issues that are in front of the town now, and there's so much about the Planning Board. And so we have 2 seats open, and what happened a year ago, as you'll remember, but Lance Grenzerback won the selectman seat, and Lance had a year to go on the Planning Board term, be similar to Steve Powers running this year. So in that case, Roger Berman, who had finished 2 years on the Board of Selectmen, Roger had been chair of the Finance Committee 2 terms of the Board of Selectmen, accepted an appointment for that last year of the term that Lance had, and is not running for that seat. So that seat's open. And also Mary McKenna's seat, Sullivan, her married name now, and stepped down. So we have 3 running, and Charles Sackris, interestingly enough, is maybe the better or best known of the 3, because Charles was chairman of the Planning Board in the late 70s, early 80s, when we went through the downtown reconstruction, and as you remember well, with John Connery being hired on to, by the Chamber of Commerce and by the town to help us with the planning. But the head of the Planning Board at that time was Charles Sackris, and Charles was also the chair of the School Reuse Committee for the Wyman, Washington, and Noonan schools. That was all done in the early 1980s, and when we took those 3 elementary schools and made them into condominiums. So Charles is running again, and of course he has stayed equally active all of these years in so many things. And so he's pretty well known in it. I'd say Jacqueline Welch is running, who has been an active person at town meeting on the personnel board and helping with the finances. And so she's a candidate, as is Ben Schuler, a candidate, and Ben is also a candidate for town meeting member. And I think Ben Schuler missed an opportunity during the debate situation to become better known because he wasn't able to get to the debate because of his personal schedule or for some other reason.
Right.
But both Charles Sackaris and Jacqueline Welch came to the league debate and had a chance for some visibility and interplay. And both of them are bringing experience, and I think Ben Schuler would perhaps too, but we didn't get to see him during the campaign as much. But we'll have 2 out of those 3, and they'll work with Drew Bottaro and Betsy Krager and Maureen Meister, who are on the planning board right now.
And like you said, a lot of stuff on their plate, particularly downtown redevelopment or rezoning, and
Yeah, I'd
the
say
chance to bring in mixed use into the town, and
it's a great opportunity for the
Yep.
community, and there's been, I would say, almost a decade of work with Vision Winchester, and the master plan, and we could talk a little bit about that, but we're in a 3rd master plan in a century, really, pretty much. But the early part of the 1900s was a master plan on how to develop the west side, frankly. The town had developed prior to that right around downtown and on the north side of things, but because we were South Woburn in those early days, of course, and the community was really from Woburn Center to Winchester Center. And it wasn't until the master plan in the early part of the 1900s that put zoning in. We were one of the first towns in the whole Commonwealth to have zoning.
really,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we had a board of zoning appeals, and we zoned for single family, for multifamily, for residential, commercial, and those kinds of things, and we've developed a community around that. And we didn't do another master plan until the 1950s, and that master plan really had to do with the schools and the fields and all the development that was going on. And about a 50-year cycle, the first 50 years of the 19th century, the second, and then when we were getting to the end of the last century, a lot of activity about a master plan, which we've done, the town has done a tremendous amount on already in phase 1 into phase 2. And the early phase has to do with residential development, has to do with downtown rezoning, more residential opportunity in a downtown situation, more opportunity for certain kinds of businesses, and as we look forward to what's going on. But the change in the demographics has been so key, not just in our community, but even in the Commonwealth, but in our community, to have an opportunity for older residents and younger residents to be owning and occupying real estate and staying active in the community is a difficult thing in a community where there are a lot of young families. Over 10% of the population in Winchester is in the school system, well over 10%. And those are young families we want to see thrive and grow in Winchester, but we also want to see young families who come out of those schools and older families still have an opportunity to stay here and flourish. So that's part of the planning. So the selectmen are involved in that, the planning board's involved in that, and there's a lot going on, from the whole idea of the flood control to the building a new high school to having zoning and residential and
multi-use, and throw in that mix,
Yeah.
the reconstruction of the train station downtown, which
We're going to have a new train station downtown in the next year plus, and that's going to be a big thing, yeah. So that election in the planning board is really key, and I think we have some talent running, and they're ready to join Drew and Betsy and Maureen, and we'll see how we do.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
School committee, another unopposed re-election.
Yeah, Michael Schindelman, and Michael's 4th term, so he certainly knows what's going on there, and the school committee has been very busy. They could pat themselves on the back because the success rate of the students in taking the exams in Winchester is put the rating system on schools in Winchester at a very high level. And so Mike Schindelman is in his 4th term, and of course he's there with Cindy Boney and Chris Linsky and Susan Verdicchio, I'm sorry, and Chris Nixon. And we Celtic people don't usually have trouble with Verdicchio, but I did. But Susan, I apologize for that, and she's doing a great job. And Chris Nixon, as I say, and Chris Linsky and Cindy Boney with Michael Schindelman. So that's a good team, and Michael is in his 4th term coming in. Yeah.
Well, they'll have their plates full as the high school redevelopment rebuilding begins in earnest just after school closes, and the challenges of keeping a full high school operating safely while the rest of the school is rebuilt around it is going to be a challenge.
So it'll be a challenge, but 3-year plan, and going to be able to do it without having to move students out, and no double sessions as we did once upon a time when we were building the high school back in the 50s. Anyway, that's going to be a good program.
Which reminds me that this will actually be our last election in this studio.
Oh, there you go. That's right.
Yeah. For those of you who are watching that didn't know, WinCAM the area for our studio here, where we've been for the past 20 plus years, is going to be actually turned into the furnace room, I believe.
Okay. Well,
it's going to be the area for mechanicals of the new high school. So we will be moving out right at the end of the school year this year. So moving into temporary quarters, and over on Swanton Street. We've signed a lease over on Swanton Street, and we'll be, over the next few months, we'll be constructing a new studio there where we expect to be for 3 years, and then if all goes well, we'll be moving back into the high school in a different location, but within this same building, hopefully in 2017.
Okay.
So a lot of memories in this particular studio here.
So that's exactly right. So we have had some fun in here, and hopefully we've had people that appreciate and enjoy the programs too.
Right. Well,
Library Board of Trustees.
On to our other contested race, yes. Library Board of Trustees.
Well, here are some unheralded folks we've had over the years, and we do it again, have some very, very substantial people who run for this position and really take care of our library. And Joan Weiritz is running. We have 3 for 2 terms. And we have Joan Weiritz is the incumbent on the ballot, and 2 challengers, but 3 for 2. Sarah Osiason, who is on the ballot and who is at MIT as a Director of IT Support Services, was on the FACTS Committee, the Financial Advisory Committee to the Selectmen in 2000. I had the pleasure of being on that committee too, and it was one of the better ones that I've ever served on. It was a lot of fun, a lot of talent. And Sarah was on that, and Ingrid Geis is running as well, and she is someone who's a retired investment manager, and as she said in the campaign, a parent. That's an important thing. A parent is someone who's going to know how we want to use that library for the kids. I think everybody knows that too, but Joan Weiritz, who's on there, of course, her background is an accounting background, and she's the incumbent, as I say. But all 3 have talked about the need for more technology in the library, for attracting more use of the library. It gets pretty good use as it is, but more reaching out to the community. It's a fabulous facility, and I think all of us really do appreciate it. But the candidates and those who are serving on the board, and of course John French is still on there in his 5th term, and Elizabeth Cooper, and Jill Pappas. Jill Pappas is on this.
Right.
So,
and it's got to be a challenge to, as technology is changing, books in themselves, but they seem to be, from what I hear, keeping up with it.
Well, the interesting thing that came up and was, the campaign, say, well, how much of a campaign was there for the library trustees? Well, a little bit. They had a discussion. There wasn't a lot of visibility, perhaps, but it was about space, partly, that as we do more with the technology and there's more use of the internet and not necessarily going to the stacks to get out a lot of books, we may see more space created. At a certain time, we did an annex, we did build onto that library, as we know. And you say, well, gee, we need more room. But maybe not. Maybe as time goes on, and that's what the discussion has been, maybe we'll be able to adequately use the space we have and think of more ways to use the space we have.
Right. Well, we're going to take a break here at the 8:30 point and for a few minutes. And I think when we come back, we'll talk about the town meeting races or non-races as they might be.
Well, we have 5 out of the 8 precincts have more candidates than seats. So
Right.
that's pretty good.
So let's talk about that. We'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, we are back with Winchester's Live 2014 town election coverage. Once again, I'm Alan Iden with Alan McDonald. And we did just get a reminder here from the town clerk's office about how many elections we have had in the past. Let's see, so we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 separate elections.
Sure, every time somebody moves, it's the domino theory moving up.
Yep,
instead of down.
on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is the 7th election we've had since March of 2013.
Right, town election at 13, and then you got the U.S. Senate election, you got a U.S. Congress election, you got a state
Yep.
state Senate election, you got the override.
Yeah, we actually have them,
Election.
she actually, Mary Ellen Lannon was kind enough to list them for us. We've
good.
got
You tell me. That's
March
awesome.
2013 was the town election, this same election. April 2013 was the U.S. Senator special primary.
Sure,
June 2013, the U.S. Senator special general election.
right,
June 2013, also a special town Prop 2.5 override for information technology. In October of 2013, U.S. Congressional Special Primary, followed in December by the U.S. Congressional Special General. December of 13 also was a special town Prop 2.5 override for the new high school.
right,
March 4th was the state senator primary, and tonight is the state's senator general election and our annual town election.
right. So
No
two
wonder those
different
poor
ballots.
folks over at the town clerk's office. God bless them. They're
That's a pretty active schedule.
they're a hard-working bunch over there, and and I think this says just at the end of this email, she expresses her feelings. Phew.
They've done a great job. And yeah, we have had a tremendous number of elections, and it isn't true across the state because, it turns out that, we had our state senator win the congressional seat, so that meant that opened up a state senate fight that wouldn't be in another community, another state senate district. That's right, yeah.
Well, so 7 election days of the polls and 10 separate elections, and obviously want to pass along Mary Ellen Lannon's comments here where she says the town clerk would like to thank the voters, the poll workers, and her amazing staff.
There you go.
And, I would second that. I was over there, we were both over there this afternoon, and
Yeah.
they were so nice, and even on a hectic election day to give us our specimen ballots and
Great.
the other things we need to bring the results to you tonight.
Had folks lined up at the counter, right?
So let's take a look and see what we have here. We have our results from, boy, if we can read this here. Registered voters. Which precinct have we got
Is
here?
this an age problem or what's going on
It's
here?
actually, I think it might somewhat, it's a little bit, it's not an age
No, of
problem.
course not. No,
God,
no.
how could that be possible?
We just said 25 plus years.
Right, but, we were both very, very young when we started.
No, the
You have
print
to
was
remember
bigger.
that. The print was bigger then. Well, I'm trying to figure out which precinct we've got here. We do have some results. Let's see.
wait,
Registered voters precinct 1, 2, and 8. So this is but I don't know exactly which. Oh, this is just precinct 3. Okay.
Okay.
Now we've caught
Okay.
on to this. So,
Tell us some numbers and we'll see what that means to us.
right. So I think this is also, this is all precinct 3. So
Okay.
if we can bring up the precinct map, if we can put that up on the screen. Not us, just the
Let's
precinct
just say
map.
relatively around downtown.
Right. Mostly around the downtown area. There we go.
There we go.
So that would be the blue area, the
The
light blue area.
Yeah, because that's 4 at the bottom right, and then you go up, and that's 3, and then 2 and 1. So
So these are the results from precinct 3, which is light blue on your screen.
yeah,
And Peter Haley, of course,
Yep.
has come in as moderator. And what we have is, these are precinct 3 and precinct 8.
oh, combined together,
Combined.
3 and 8. That's
Combined together. Well, let's talk about
unusual combination.
in the selectmen's
reading,
race here.
yeah,
We
okay.
have Steve Powers with 231 to Doug Marmon's 309
Okay. Interesting.
in precinct 3. In precinct 8, quite a different story. Steve Powers 233 to Doug Marmon's 84.
It's very interesting, and historically, Precinct 3 has a much bigger turnout than Precinct 8. Not always much bigger, but pretty much always bigger. And that happens here is you've got almost 540 votes. You do have 540 votes. And over here in Precinct 8, you only have 300 plus votes. So you've got 200 votes less in Precinct 8 than 3. What that means is that's good for Doug Marmon because he did stronger in 3, a precinct that has more votes. But of course, Steve Powers has done quite well in 8, so he comes out on top in 3 and 8 combined, right?
He does. The combined two is 464 for Steve Powers and 393 for Doug Marmon.
Right.
Very early, a little bit early to
Oh, yeah.
tell any kind of
Oh, way
trends
too
here.
early to tell
Right.
from that, yeah.
Down in, let's see, where do we have, let's go down to our other contested race, which is, second contested race, which is the planning board. In Precinct 3, we have 309 for Charles Sekras,
Yeah,
206 for Ben Schuler, and 263 for Jackie Welch.
okay. That's Precinct 3 you're talking about.
Precinct 3, right.
Okay, very interesting, okay.
Moving on to Precinct 8, 133 for Charles Sekras, 91 for Benjamin Schuler, and 149 for Jackie Welch.
I'll say Jackie Welch did very nicely there in Precinct 8. You might feel she lives over in Precinct 7, right on the 7 and the 6, 7 and 5 line, and so hats off to the result that she got in Precinct 8, frankly, and Charles did fine too. Very close though in that for all 3 of them in Precinct 8, frankly.
Right. In Precinct 3.
So it's close
3 out of
all
3,
around.
yeah,
Close
yep.
all around, yeah.
For some reason, I don't have totals columns there, but
Close all around. Well,
just
that's,
just eyeballing them, you can see that
yeah.
at this point, Charles Sekras and Jackie Welch are in the lead
yeah.
there. Down in the library trustees, we have Sarah Osisen
Yeah.
at 118, Joan,
So where, Joan Wyrick's?
Wyrick's,
Right,
yes,
Joan-
okay.
Joan
I should have-
Wyrick's,
I
yeah.
should have paid.
Joan Wyrick's,
Joan
yeah.
Wyrick's with 301 as the incumbent, and Ingrid Gies at 258.
258. And what was
Guys.
Sarah's again?
Sarah was 118.
118. Okay, well, truly for Ingrid Geis and Joan Wyrick's, those are good votes. I think Sarah would have felt she might have done better in Precinct 3 than that, but she's not as well known, I would think, as not that this is a highly visible campaign, but that's an interesting vote. Very close up on the planning board, but I would say even from, as we say, too early to tell in selectmen, but certainly both Jacqueline Welch and Charles Sekras are significantly ahead after those 2 precincts. So it's going to be very difficult for Benjamin Schuler to catch up with those results, even in just 2 precincts in. But there are 6 precincts to go, so it's too early to tell.
But they did run highly visible campaigns too.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. And in the library trustee situation, certainly Sarah, with that result, is behind. How did number 8 come out?
Number 8 was Sarah did 104, Joan did 136, and Ingrid did 90.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Still a significant advantage for Ingrid Geis and Joan Wyrick's, yeah.
Still bear with me while I'm trying to, let's see. Jason Lewis, of course, again, we're just one part of the territory.
Should be a very strong number.
Very strong.
Yeah.
Jason is 722 to 265
Sure.
in Precincts 3 and Precinct 8.
Well, it's what we would expect, and he needs to do very well, as we know, in Malden and Melrose. He's running against a Melrose candidate who's on the Board of Aldermen in Melrose, so you say that could be tough, but he's had a lot of support in Melrose, as we see from the newspaper articles here that were in the Times Chronicle even last night. You can see a lot of support from the political world in Melrose for Jason Lewis, but you would have to think that Monica Medeiros would do well in her own city, and Jason needs to get a very strong vote out of the only 4 precincts he has in Winchester.
Right.
To go into those communities, but
Well, certainly it's been
yep.
strong showing in 3 and 8,
Very good.
two of those 4.
yeah, very good.
So that's what we have at the moment, 3 and 8. Again, our thanks to the town clerk's office for sending those over. Let's go back to town
Okay,
meeting members.
all
Let's
right.
talk about beginning in precinct 1.
Well, we have precinct 1, we have 8 running for 8 seats, so
Yep.
we know they're going to be elected, and 7 of them are incumbents. You know, you got Dave Storygard, Robert McIntosh, John Richard, Krista Anzalone Russo, Roger Wilson, Ann Sarah Meredith, Mason Crowley, all incumbents, and Michael Juan Feng, who is not previously elected, who's on the ballot to be elected this time around 3 years. So we have 8 for 8. And we actually have a couple of precincts with only 7 candidates for 8 seats. In precinct 2, they happen to all be incumbents, 7 incumbents. There were no challenges in precinct 2, which means that they will caucus and have somebody elected at the first night of town meeting by the precinct members from that precinct. So
Unless there are some
precinct 2.
write-ins.
Unless there are some write-ins.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Mr. Wright. You are absolutely correct. Right again. Right again.
Not often, but
No,
once-
you are.
it
That's
happens
very
once in a
right.
while.
There'll be write-ins, and we don't need to
Yep.
have a caucus. So Betsy Krager, well-known, of course, selectman and planning board, former selectman, current planning board, and Bettina Parks, Richard Rowan, Ron Clark, Anna Jane Santososo, David Judelson, and Jay Melconian. So they are all incumbents and running for re-election, and you're right,
elected.
we could see a write-in.
Now,
Precinct 3, yeah.
now I'm looking at the ballot here. There was also an open slot for 1 year in precinct 2, which had no candidates.
No candidates, that's
So-
exactly right. So
It could have been written in there.
that will have to be a write-in, and there were 2 spots where there's, in this precinct, there's an open seat for a 1-year one, and then when we get down to precinct 8, I'm going to guess it is, yes it is, that we have an opening for 2 years, and we do have a candidate for that one. So otherwise, all the candidates are for 3 years. And in precinct 3, we have 10 running for 8 spots, so a surplus of
contest.
candidates. This is
Right.
good. So we have 7 incumbents out of the 10, so we know we're going to have a challenger win, but Virginia Lots, Ben Schuler is running for town meeting, and Virginia and Ben are challengers. John Looney, candidate for re-election. David Carlson, challenger. Chris Linsky, school committee, of course, a candidate for re-election. Charles Sakaris, candidate for re-election. Joan Grenzaback, Paul Kelly, Lauren Costello, and Lance Grenzaback, all candidates for re-election. And of course, Lance on the Board of Selectmen now, former planning board, and Charles Sakaris, candidate for planning board.
It's interesting, as the years of observing the town meeting, that there are husband and wife combinations, and sometimes they don't actually sit together.
Well,
They don't always agree.
we won't, but with a lot of them, we'll say most of them did sit together.
Most of them did, but there, I can think of a couple of occasions when they didn't.
We have,
Precinct 4.
here's one talking about, we just saw a couple there, the Grenzabacks. So precinct 4, 9 candidates for 8 spots, 5 incumbents. Incumbents are Michael Bailey, Stephen Moore, and Marjorie Moore. So Mr. and Mrs. Moore, Brian McCarthy, and Brian Vernalia. Those are our 5 incumbents, and the challengers are John Book, Peter Scapiccio, Sean Rinn, and Susan Schwartz. So we will see 8 candidates from that list come out of the 9. So that's a group of challenges. When we get to precinct 7, you're going to see a lot of challenges. But precinct 5 is also 9 for 8, but with only 3 incumbents. So we're going to see a turnover in precinct 5. The incumbents are Peter Scheimitz, Charlene Band, and Dan McGurl. But now we see challenges from Heidi Rootstein DeLeo, Mary Johnston Turner, Jan Dolan, Aijan Zhu, and Shuayan Fan, and William Malio. So those are all challenges. And of course, Jan Dolan, long-time active person in the town of Winchester, and former
School teacher?
teacher, coach at Winchester High School, and very active in the community right through, particularly in the Sports Foundation activities, still very visible and
Yeah, I
active.
don't recall her running for office before.
No, I think that my guess is, as we all know, one of the issues of the day is how we're going to take care of our retired public servants in a way that helps them with the health insurance. And I think the selectmen did come through with a plan that was endorsed by, I don't know if it was endorsed by all the selectmen. I can't remember if it was a 5-0 vote, but they did solve some of the plan. But Jan Dolan was a strong spokesperson for the retired employees of the town of Winchester.
Precinct 6.
Precinct 6. 10 running for 8, with 8 incumbents, 2 challengers. And so the 8 incumbents for the 8 seats are Roger Hain, Patricia Urick, Dale Deschate, Catherine Cody Tomey, Jim Johnson, candidate for re-election, sixth term on the Board of Selectmen, right? Am I correct? I think so.
I believe so.
Ron Hoopy, candidate for re-election, Robert Colt, and Cynthia Latta. Cynthia's been fabulous on all things dealing with the town's finances and tons of different committees, and a fabulous help on those things. Challenges, Ken Pruitt and Michael Betancourt. So we'll see how that comes out.
Great.
Good to see the activity. Precinct 7, there's a ton of activity. We have 12 candidates for the 8 seats and only 3 incumbents. So we have 9 new names.
We can bring up our precinct map too. Let's refresh our
Okay.
viewers about
Sure.
where these are located.
Yeah.
We can bring that up. Precinct 7 is in the flats.
It's in the flat, so
area.
you'll see the middle there. If brown is the right color, but the one right smack in the middle of the town that runs up to the top of the map. The ones on the left there, the green one on the left top is 6, and the blue one
we
below
just
that is
discussed.
5. So you see 7, and you can see right around Wedge Pond is what we're looking there in that body of water. That's is that Wedge?
That is Wedge. No, that's Big and Little Winter.
Yeah, Big and Little Winter. I'm looking. I'm saying that's too far away. That's too close to the border.
Yeah,
of
Wedge
movement to be
Wedge Pond is lost in the light blue of 5.
Yeah, I'm looking up at the screen now. I'm looking at it.
I know you're a little new to the town, but
Not brand new, but I said I only skated on that pond 1,000 times. But that's right. When I said Wedge, I looked. I said it's pretty close to Woburn.
yeah, it doesn't look.
look
I
like-
also hear that that Little Winter Pond is drying up.
Well, it's getting littler all the time. That's the
Yeah.
truth. But the big one's still a pretty good size for
It
us
is.
for the hockey
It
game.
is. So that's precinct 7 is what
Well,
we're
for
talking
8. So
about
here
right
it is.
now.
We had 3 incumbents, and the incumbents here are Ann Muir, Robert Palmer, and Michael Schindelman. And we just talked about Michael for 4th term on the school committee, and Ann Muir happens to be a next-door neighbor. So I got to make sure that people know that Ann Muir is a candidate for re-election. And the challenges are, I'm going to start with Don Muir.
I hate to say this, but we have 2 different ballots here.
We do.
We do. Ann
Well,
Muir
what
is
does
not
yours-
showing us.
What does yours look like?
Ann Muir does not show as an incumbent on
Yeah,
here.
you know something? I didn't think Ann was an incumbent, and I talked to her during the campaign period, but it says here on my ballot, look at it, it says
I
here,
think-
candidate for re-election.
Yeah.
So I think you were right, again.
Well, I don't know about that. I just happened to
Think you
draw
are.
I know there was a corrected ballot in 7. So my ballot shows Lauren Lesperance, Judith Maratinello, and Michael Schindelman as the only incumbents.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I was wondering myself, because Lauren Lesperance is not listed as an incumbent here, and I said, that's unusual. But, so I think you're right, and thank you for correcting. It does say, this is the way it came out on my ballots, printed by the town, but I think Ann and Don Muir are challengers. And
Here, if you'd like to cheat off my
I gave
copy here.
Is it okay if I gave a plug anyway? I mean, what the heck?
Of course.
I mean, the polls are closed.
Right, right. Yep.
So Michelle McCarthy, the candidates are Michelle McCarthy, Don Muir, Lauren Lesperance, Isabel McGee, Ann Muir, as I've already said, Bob Palmer, Christopher Corvey, Edward Tonello, Barbara Shagog, Judith Myra Tonello, Linda Whitehead, and Michael Schindelman. That's a pretty good lineup.
Very
12,
good line,
12
yep.
for the 8 spots.
Yep, but an interesting, a large mix of new candidates in there.
There is.
You know,
That's a good,
first time
Yeah.
town meeting members, so
Yeah.
a lot of new blood coming in
Yeah,
precinct
that's
7.
correct. And in 8, we have 6 incumbents. We have only 7 for the 8 seats in precinct 8. And so 7 of them are incumbents. And if my ballot is correct this time, the incumbents will be Don Daniel, Sherry Winkleman, Brian Clark, Joseph McDonough, Michael Canavan, and Donald Bradford. And the challenger in this field is Chad Chamberlain. And
We can congratulate him on being elected.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the Chamberlain family, I'm up in that neighborhood. They've been Chamberlains since my day, so Chad may certainly be part of that legacy. And in any event, we also have one candidate, DeQuan Tian, who is running for a 2-year term and an open seat, and he's going to be elected unless there are a lot of write-ins.
Possible written in, right?
Yep, that's great.
So I think we're going to go to another break here.
Okay.
And wait for some more results to come in. It is just about the 9 o'clock hour.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll be back in just a few minutes with some more precinct results.
I think we should say that the town clerk's office felt that they would get us the numbers by right about now, so we'll take a quick break, go outside and see if we have them, and come on back. How's that?
Right, okay, thanks, stay with us, we'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back once again. I'm Alan Iden, here with Alan McDonald with your live coverage of the Winchester 2014 town elections. And we have got half of our precincts in right now. 1, 2, 3, and 8 reporting. So let's take a look and see what kind of results we have here.
Okay.
While Mr. McDonald is here scribbling figures and everything away here, the human computer. Okay, we'll go to our first contested race, which is the Selectmen's race. And our new precincts are Precinct 1 reporting with Steve Powers at 199 and Doug Marmon at 251. And again, Precinct 1, there's our precinct map. Precinct 1 in the northeast corner of the town.
Woburn Stoneham corner.
Yep. And Precinct 2, Steve Powers with the 175 to Doug Marmon's 133. And
Okay.
and if you add them together
pretty
with the
close.
ones we've had already
Yep.
so far, there's Precinct 2 up there.
Yep.
That gives Steve Powers a lead of 838 to Doug's 777, with half the precincts reporting at this point.
Well, it's an interesting one. That was precinct 8 we had in earlier, 233-84 for Powers versus Marmon, and so Steve Powers a little bit ahead. It's going to be very interesting. It's close enough at this stage of the game, with only half a hundred votes in between out of 1,600 cast. So you would expect a good fight in 4, 5, 6, 7 coming up. Now that, as far as, there's not a very big turnout as we see, but usually Precinct 7 votes fairly heavily, and Precinct 4 second to that. Steve Powers historically has done well up in Precinct 6. And
His home precinct.
As home precinct, and
Right.
but too close to predict. But it's going to be a very interesting. It's a good race. Do we have something on the planning?
We do have something on the planning board. So in Precinct 1, Charles Sekris with 229, Ben Schuler with 137, Jackie Welch with 183 in Precinct 1. And for Precinct 2, pretty much same results, lighter figures. Charles Sekris with 154, Jackie Welch with 148, and Ben Schuler with 95.
Well, I'd say Ben Schuler. I don't believe there are enough votes left for him to catch up. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that Charles Sakris and Jackie Welch will prevail. We only have half the precincts in, but we'll see how that stands up.
That would have, like you say, it would have to be a very heavy vote in favor of Ben Schuler in the remaining 4 precincts to overcome that kind of lead.
Correct.
And down the library trustees, Sarah Heeson, 143, John Werricks at
John
Werricks
Yeah.
at 215,
Yeah.
and Ingrid Geis at 141.
Okay. Very interesting. Yeah.
Sarah and Ingrid just about tied there,
Yeah.
as they do in Precinct 2. 105 for Sarah, 108 for Ingrid,
Yeah.
and 163 for Joan.
Oh, yeah. Okay. 108 was there. Okay. Very
108
good.
for
Yep,
Ingrid.
Yep. So Joan Wyridge is doing quite well as the incumbent. No question about that. And which she did. She had the highest vote out of 3 and 8 as well. So very close between the two challenges. No question about that. Yep.
Right. For some reason I don't have totals here. I don't know whether we want to get into town meeting member totals at this point. We do have them.
Do you?
Let's see, so...
You'd have to pick out the top 8. That would be, that's,
well,
that's your
precinct.
challenge. That's
let's see, you're right, because they're in ballot order here.
yeah.
Lots of blanks. Boy, it's going to be a tough one. I'd have to...
Well, it is
They're all-
because, when you're allowed to vote for 8 out of the following, sometimes if you have a favorite, you're only going to vote for 3, 4, or 5, or whatever, and so you have to bounce around there a little bit.
Now, in Precinct 1, I see we have 8 candidates for 8
Yeah,
seats?
8 for 8, yeah.
8 for 8,
So they're
okay,
in,
so
yeah.
no, that's, okay. No need for math there.
No need for math there. How
They're
about
all, they're all elected.
Yeah.
And if we have two, let's see. Precinct 2, okay, so what do we have in 2? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for 8. So I guess they're all going to be elected. Doing
They are
math here?
indeed, yeah, I'm trying to, as you say, yeah, you know, some of you will bring a calculator down with me. I kind of enjoyed doing it without a calculator, but the race for the two challenges on the Library Board of Trustees is very, very close after the first 4 precincts. So
And for some reason, I don't have totals in those columns, so you're
Joan
doing.
Wyritz will certainly come in. I just, without adding them up in print, just in
Just eyeball.
my mind, in
Right.
my eyeball, it's close to 500, so we need 4 more precincts. So a good race for selectmen. We've got 4 precincts in, 1, 2, 3, and 8, and Steve Powers is ahead by some 60 votes actually, 838 to 777. That's very close out of 1,600 plus cast. We've got some very interesting results to come in, and areas where Doug Marmon you would expect would do fairly well, and areas where you would expect Steve Powers to do fairly well. So
It'll be very tight.
no leg up entirely yet in that race. In the planning board race, Charles Sackaris and Jacqueline Welch clearly ahead with 4 precincts to go. Very difficult for Benjamin Schuler to catch up, frankly.
Right.
And in the library trustees, Joan Wyritz is winning by a good margin, and a very close race for second between 2 and 3, between
Right.
Sarah and Ingrid. So it's kind of an interesting election.
It is. And do you want to talk about town meeting members in 2? So we have
Okay.
figures there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for 8.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
correct
one
in
of them.
2?
We had 3 precincts where we don't have a
Yep.
full complement. And so this one is, we would definitely, you would expect these 7 to be elected. And as you say, a write-in, and if no write-in, we're going to see a caucus for.
I see actually 49 write-ins.
Is that a fact?
Yeah,
Isn't that something, huh?
interesting.
That's very good. That's way over the average write-ins on a town meeting ballot from years past.
Yeah.
So maybe it's either because someone's had a campaign for a write-in, or a lot of folks have got 6 or 7
It's true
votes
thing.
apiece.
Yeah. So 3 is contested, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 for 8 seats.
10 for 8.
So that means the pressure's on me to eyeball,
Yeah.
and it's a little difficult with a faxed copy here, but I am going to say that the unelected,
Put a line through the bottom 2 and then read the other 8. How's that? Couple of very
Yes.
experienced guys here.
just looking at, and I hope I just want to, before I do this, make sure it's.
Make sure it's right.
Yes, okay, so it looks like the elected are Virginia Latz, John Looney, Chris Linsky, Charles Sekris, Joan Grenzebach, Paul Kelly, Lauren Costello, and Lance Grenzebach.
Okay. Which would
Double check
indicate
that.
to me that Ben Schuler is not elected. He's not one of the
No,
winners in town meeting, and as a candidate for town-wide office, that's a,
Not a good
It's
sign.
difficult, yeah, it's
Yeah,
difficult. But in fairness to the campaign
Mhm.
activity, we didn't see much of Ben Schuler in the campaign, but as I say, clearly, the first 4 precincts that came in, he's got a long way to go to catch up with
right.
Jacqueline Welch and Charles Sackaris, yeah, and the fact that he didn't win, but against a lot of incumbents, we have 7 incumbents for town meeting, so there were 3 out of the 10 who could have made it, but the thinking would be if one of those candidates is a town-wide candidate, usually that person does well in the town meeting.
So our new, so the only newcomer elected was Virginia Latz.
Okay, that makes sense, because there were 7 incumbents, that's right. So
Yeah.
out of the 3 challenges, Virginia wins the challenge versus Ben Schuler and David Carlson.
Right.
Okay.
I wonder if there's an advantage to be first on the ballot, too.
Well, it's what they say is can be worth 2%, 3%
Is that
in
right?
a vote. Yeah, they can
Yeah?
be, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you like to be first, yeah.
So, let's see, those are our first 3 precincts. We don't have 4, then we go down to, skip down to 8. Let's try to read these totals here. And let's look at 8, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 for, so they're all, everybody's elected in
Yeah.
8.
Donald Daniels, Sherry Winkleman, Brian Clark, Joseph McDonough, Chad Chamberlain, Michael Canavan, and Donald Bradford, yep.
Are all elected. And there's about 20 write-ins there. So that would be interesting to
That's
see
good.
if,
That's good.
I suppose if you got 2 votes and every other one was a single one, I guess you'd be elected, wouldn't you?
You would?
Yeah. Be an interesting outcome. And the totals in the state senate election
Yes.
show, as expected, Jason Lewis well ahead at 1,305 to Monica Medeiros' 524.
Okay.
And that's, those are,
You would
those are,
expect-
actually, those are the,
Those are the,
those are the precincts that will be voting. So those are the final, those would be the, well, preliminary. I think we still have to say preliminary because we don't have,
preliminary. So
Absentee
those are,
ballots.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 8. So that's it for the Jason Lewis, Monica Medeiros election. 1,300 to 500. Well, that's pretty good. You want to come out more than 2 to 1 in your home area, and so he does. Not quite 3 to 1, but substantial. The difficulty will be low turnout. In your home area, you want a huge turnout, of course. And we don't have that, but that doesn't mean it's also pretty low in other places, because some of the other places, in fact, maybe none of the other places have local elections at the same time. So this is definitely
Oh.
a special election for the state senate in Melrose and Malden.
oh, is it? There's
we-
no,
No, the Secretary of State picked this date for the state senate election, and we, if you'll remember, petitioned to have our town election the same time so that we wouldn't have to have the 11th election in one year for the town clerk's office, Mary Ellen Lannon and the team. We pushed our town election 1 week late to match up with what the state said the state special election will be for state senate. So in those other areas that Jason Lewis is running and Monica Medeiros is running, don't have these other elections going on.
none of them? None of them have a
I
town
don't think
election
so.
at the time?
Oh, no, well, the cities don't, because their city elections are off year and they're in the fall. I mean, they're not electing town meeting in the cities. They're electing boards of aldermen and mayors, and they don't do a town election like this. So, interestingly enough, I actually did not inquire about what the town of Wakefield or the town of Stoneham was doing today, but unless they're doing something similar, and I don't know that they are, that's it on the ballot, yeah.
All right,
So
well,
there's where we are. So we are awaiting 4, 5, 6, and 7, which are 4 very interesting precincts for the selectmen's race in particular, because we've got usually very good turnouts relative to the rest of the town vote, and certainly in precinct 7, which has been a very active precinct years past. Not so much on the incumbents this year in town meeting, so it may not be as active a precinct this particular time out. But we do need to see those votes to have a good feeling
right,
about
and
what's
with a
happening.
low turnout, a few votes can make a big difference,
Well,
less
it
than 20%.
makes a big difference. And in a low turnout, the candidates, again, as we say, who have an impassioned following, usually have an advantage, because like in the caucus, Iowa caucuses or other caucuses, if you're the one that gets your team into the fray, you have a better chance to win. You can have a vocal minority, as one of our presidential candidates used to
Right.
say, and really make the difference with it. So we'll
Right.
see what happens, but I'm intrigued, and I'm dying to know what happens at 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Right, and if you're just tuning in, the selectmen's race is probably too close to call, definitely, at this point.
Definitely, yeah.
It looks like we can pretty much call the planning board race for Charles Sekris and Jackie Welch.
I would.
Again, as we said, it would take a huge showing for Benjamin Schuler in the remaining precincts to overcome their leads.
It would, yeah, it would. I don't think there'll be enough votes for that, and, but we do have another, potential 2,000 votes coming in, so.
And a tight race in the library trustees.
Very, very tight. And again, we talked about earlier in the night, for those who might have joined us later, excellent candidates, people who are familiar with the library, want to see library use expanded, technology in the library, use of space as it comes along. Joan Wyritz, who's in her second term, or this one coming up, is winning quite handily, but the two challenges, Sarah O'Season, who was on the fax committee in 2000, director of information services over at MIT, is tied up with Ingrid Geis, who's herself accomplished investment manager, retired, as Ingrid said in the campaign, and a parent. Parent being very important. I think we're all familiar with the young people's use of the library, but strong candidates for that particular 2 seats, and for those particular 2 seats, and we'll
again,
see how that goes.
That's too close to call
Very.
at this point.
Yeah.
And again, just touching on the other big thing on this ballot is a different name at the top.
Oh, yeah.
For the first time in many years.
Well, so let's congratulate Peter Haley ahead of time. We haven't seen the final vote, but it'll be a landslide. And as we said again earlier in the evening, congratulations and thanks to John Sullivan for 46 years in a row of town-wide service, 9 on the Board of Selectmen, 37 as town moderator, an outstanding accomplishment and achievement and service to the town, and we all owe John a great debt of gratitude.
Absolutely.
We know that. He knows how much we appreciate it. And,
I believe I've seen there's going to be actually a public event to thank John for his service. If I'm not mistaken, it's April 14th.
April 14th, Monday night, Sons of Italy, 6 to 9, all welcome, open house. Those who would like to come, it'll be in the press, you'll see it, but those who want to plan ahead on April 14th, the Monday night, please come, Sons of Italy, and chance to tip your hat to John, and I'm sure there'll be a few words of commendation and perhaps a little roasting at the moment.
And John's not going quietly into retirement. He's very busy down in his law practice downtown. And I think that when I spoke to him a few weeks ago, it's so busy that he wanted to devote a little more time to it, and he thought it would be go out on the top, I suppose you say, too.
Oh, he's going out on the top for sure.
Definitely is.
You said earlier, and just say it again for people who might have just tuned in, John was the longest serving, continuously serving moderator in the Commonwealth, and had been second over the years to Tom O'Donnell in Hingham, but Tom O'Donnell retired after 45 years for him in 2012, and for the last couple of years, John Sullivan was the longest resident, continuous serving moderator, and significantly that way for the Winchester history of town meeting. We used to elect the town meeting moderator each and every town meeting session, so that you would see in an annual town meeting in the 1920s or earlier 6 or 7 different moderators during the course of the town meeting. And it wasn't until really Harrison Chadwick that we get to have a town moderator for a long period of time. And of course Harrison was long-serving town moderator as well, nowhere near the 37 years, but we tipped the tip of the hat to Harrison as well. But then Ray Kenny did a couple of years in between when Harrison retired as state representative and town moderator.
Before John.
John was serving on the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
And Ray Kenny was our town moderator for a couple of years till John finished his 3rd term as selectman, and then John ran for town moderator and has held the spot ever since. Yeah.
And he's been as we said earlier, he's been a very active moderator. He does so much more than just moderate the town meeting, very involved with, committees. I've talked to him many times over the years and does a tremendous amount of research. Ahead of time, he told me that he actually tries to argue both sides of every question.
It's his
So
law end of things, as John, for those who would know John well, engineering background, distinguished engineering background, and he was in the nuclear Navy program coming out of Villanova. He was in the 5-year engineering program at Villanova, and a very successful time as a young man in his service with the Navy. Came out right into the engineering world, ran for selectman early on, 27 years old, I think. And
Lost his first election.
Didn't make it the first election, and that's a story that John has told many, many times, and probably will again the 14th of April. And those who don't know it, John uses different numbers sometimes than I do, but I looked it up for the town reports to be sure. I was right. I happened to have been in his living room as a volunteer worker bee in 1967 during that election, and my first year of law school. He was the winner. We were listening to WHSR radio. This used to be on radio. Now with the advanced technology, here we are in the tube. So WHSR radio, and when the votes were counted, it was 1,612 for John, 1,605 for Ed Williams. And Ed Williams, a little shop downtown right now where the, what's the old, next to the Five and Dime in those days, next to CVS now. But Ed Williams was 7 votes behind, and we said, oh, look at that, that's great. Cheers in the living room, this is great. They said, wait, we have to count the absentee ballots. Oh, absentee ballots. Well, John tells a story. He was 27, turning 28. He didn't know about absentee ballots so much. That wasn't a big deal. Turns out that Ed Williams gets 8 absentee ballots more than John. John got 2 and Ed got 10. 16-14 to 16-12. John was 16-14. 16-15 to 16-14.
Yep, one vote.
One vote.
The power of the vote.
So John next year ran, of course, and topped the ticket by a lot. I mean, next year he came in with Ralph Swanson, sympathy vote. No, they said, this guy has got talent, let's put him in. So the next year he topped the ticket, and Ralph Swanson was second, and he joined up on the board with, in those days, Paul Amico, I think Henry Chapman, and of course Whip served with him on the board too. So
Whip Saltmarsh, sure.
Yeah, so that was an interesting board.
Well, I think we're going to go to a break again while we
Okay.
wait for the results.
Yeah.
Interesting, the results seem to be coming a little slowly tonight.
Yeah,
I think we both thought that we'd have everything by now, but we're still waiting for them.
My guess is what
they're dimming the
happened-
lights. Maybe
dimming the lights. I think
is
what
this a
happened
hint
was
that we're going to be
that
we're going off?
that our count for Winchester to go into the other communities in the state Senate race, the fact that we got 1, 2, 3, and 8, which are the 4 in the Senate race, may be because they wanted to get those tied in with the other communities first. But I would hope we get these votes pretty
Right.
quickly.
Well, I think. Oh, do we have more results? We do. If we could get them. Do we have all the precincts?
We have our
Lovely Linda Doucette
Calendar
has
set.
just handed
Linda
me
Doucette is here
the
with-
totals here.
fabulous, fabulous.
Precincts 1 through 8.
Oh, well, this is good.
There we go.
Give us-
Okay.
Give us, pick
I
out.
guess we won't go to a break.
Pick out 4, 5, 6, or 7.
Right.
or just tell me all at once.
No, we
More
got
fun to kind of,
It
see
is.
what it looks like.
Let's pick it apart. Okay, so we are going to work on 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
Starting with 4 in the selectmen's race.
Yes.
We have Steve Powers, 159, Doug Marmon, 149.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, close still, yeah.
And in precinct 5, Steve Powers, 162,
Mm-hmm.
Doug Marmon, 107.
Okay, well, that's Steve's going into 6 or 7 with a strong hand.
Yes, and as you might expect, in 6, Steve's 175,
Yeah.
Doug Marmon, 98.
Well, I don't think there are enough votes left in precinct 7 to change it, but tell me what
And
that is.
there are not, 173 to 166.
Well, that's a win for Steve Powers.
Right.
That's
So we
very
have a preliminary
interesting.
total here for Steve Powers of 1,507 versus 1,297, about 300 vote spread there.
Well, Steve had a very strong, impassioned group behind him, as they say, in a turnout like this. If you've got a strong team, you're a pretty strong candidate. So he did a very
Steve
good
is
job. Yeah.
back on the board.
Back on the board for term number 5. How about that? That's
bless
pretty
him.
good. Yep, God bless him is right. Congratulations, Steve, and
Right.
Doug Marmon. Thank you so much for not just the term for selectmen, but all of the years of so much of stuff,
Right.
which I
And
know
I don't think-
I know that will continue. So
Yes,
that's all
I'm
right.
saying, we're not going to see the last of
Nope.
Doug.
But
And again,
very-
thank him for his service.
very close race.
Well, let's move on to what we pretty much know is going to be the result of
Yep.
the planning board race in precinct 4. Charles Sechrist, 158.
Yeah.
Ben Schuler, 101.
Yeah.
And Jackie Welch with 155.
Yeah. This is a formality on 5, 6, 7, but let's get those numbers.
141 for Charles Sechrist. Ben Schuler, 68.
Yeah.
Jackie Welch, 154.
All right.
Moving on to 6, 140. Charles Sechrist, 77 for Ben Schuler, 147. Jackie Welch. And precinct 7, 172 for Charles Sechrist, 128 for Ben Schuler, and 188 for Jackie Welch.
Boy, Jackie Welch did a very good campaign.
Yep.
You know, keeping up, with a veteran candidate like Charles Sechrist.
Sure.
Charles did well too. But
Sure. Well, so we got totals here of, again, preliminary totals here with, I don't believe there are any absentee ballots in here, but
it's all right.
this is pretty much a sure thing. Charles Sechrist with 1,436.
Yeah.
Ben Schuler with 903. Jackie Welch with 1,387. So elected are Charles Sechrist and Jackie Welch.
Yeah, very good campaigns there, no question about it.
Right.
Okay.
And library trustees. That's Sarah O'Season with 77 in precinct 4. Joan Wyricks with 169. And Ingrid Geis with 140.
She did very well there, yep.
This is going to be, it's a close.
Puts Ingrid Geis ahead, yep.
Yep. So that gives in precinct 5, they are Sarah with 83, Joan with 153, and Ingrid with 79.
Okay.
Precinct 6 was Sarah with 78, Joan with 178, Ingrid Geis with 77.
Okay, this is a big vote coming up in 7.
And 7 is 109 for Sarah,
That's a good one.
143 for Joan,
Yeah.
116 for Ingrid.
Wow, that's pretty close across the board. Just eyeballing it,
Well, I can give you the figures.
yeah, give me
you
the
don't need to
figures.
eyeball
Okay, yep.
it.
That'd be,
Sarah with 817, Sarah O'Season with 817,
Yep.
Joan Wyricks with 1,458, and Ingrid Geist with 1,009, which elects Joan Wyricks and Ingrid Geist.
yeah, she jumped ahead in precinct 4. The precinct 4 vote was substantial, to say that it's going to be awfully tough for Sarah to catch up in 5, 6, 7, which is what happened. But all good candidates there, and
Sure.
hats off to all of them for offering themselves for these offices. That was very good contest, frankly. Yeah.
And I guess before we finish up here, we should go to our town meeting results. So in 4,
Yeah.
we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Yeah,
8, 9 candidates.
9 for 8, yeah.
So elected are, give me 1 second here. So elected are Michael Bailey, Stephen Moore, Marjorie Moore, Brian McCarthy, Peter Scapaccio, Sean Rinn, Susan Schwartz, and Brian Vernalia.
Okay.
So all but John Book.
Albert John Book. So, yeah.
Right. And going into precinct 5, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we have Peter Clements elected.
Peter Schemitz.
Peter Schemitz, sorry. Yeah, I'm reading the, sorry.
Oh, you got the small print.
I'm reading the,
Oh, I got bigger
the
print.
small fuzzy print
Yeah,
here.
that's
So I'll let you read it. 1 unelected was,
Okay, so the elected is Peter Schemitz, Heidi Rootstein DeLeo, Charlene Band, Dan McGurl, Mary Johnston Turner, Jan Dolan's elected, Joanne Fan, and William Malio. Asian Jew is the one that's ZHU, Jew, Asian Jew. It not get elected this time around, so but the others did, so there you go.
Okay, moving on to 6. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 candidates
And for 8.
for 8. And again, I can barely read here, so if
I
you
just
give me
read
your
too,
copy.
we had 5 new members come in precinct 5 that we just read, so
So, let's see. And, boy, 1 vote separating here.
okay, so
So
we have,
these are so close. They actually, the 8th and 9th are separated by 1 vote.
isn't that
So,
something, huh? Well, we got,
so
wow.
without absentees, it probably, we caution, these are just our preliminary
These are
results.
preliminary.
Right.
Roger
Just makes-
Hain, Patricia Urick, Ken Pruitt, Catherine Cody Tomey, Michael Betancourt, Jim Johnson, Selectman Jim Johnson, Robert Colt, and Cynthia Latta are the 8 electeds. So that's pretty good. And we have, you know, Michael Betancourt is a new elected to town meeting, so.
But as I look at this, Roger Hain and Dale
Deshate.
DeShate are only separated by 1 vote.
Isn't that something?
So that's the,
Dale's
that's too close to call.
Dale's an incumbent too, so
Mm-hmm.
that would be one of those cases where, as I said at the start of the show, that occasionally you do have challenges defeating incumbents for
Right.
town meeting.
And precinct 7, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Right.
This is going to be a little trickier here. So, unelected. If I can have your copy, I'll mark it.
Yeah, let me do that.
So, sorry to do this while we're on the air, but
Well, this is,
this is on the
we're low
fly.
tech. You know,
We are.
this is, someone might think that over 25 plus years, we would have gotten a little more high tech, but no.
We're getting the hang. We're just starting to get the hang of this. Okay.
Do you think this could catch on nationally if they watch this? And
I doubt it.
Did Walter Cronkite do this? I can't
He
remember.
probably did.
Okay,
So again, you know, just a few votes separating.
So I have the electeds for the 3-year term would be Michelle McCarthy, Lauren Lesperance, Robert Palmer, Edward Tonello, Barbara Shagog, Judith Myra Tonello, Linda Whitehead, and Michael Schindelman.
And Don Muir.
Yeah,
Did you mention him?
I didn't mention Dawn. Now, Ann
Well,
and Dawn Muir are,
Ann Muir, I'm sorry. I'm saying Ann Muir is elected, yes.
she is
Oh, she,
elected.
well,
Well, you put a little
I
mark
did.
here that
Sorry?
was a no.
McGee, Isabel McGee.
Isabel McGee.
No, okay.
Can I peek over your shoulder at
You,
those
you
numbers?
certainly, you certainly, you certainly can.
We want to get it right, because
Yep.
we've got people watching to wonder, how did it work? So this is
So I've got
precinct 7 right here. So
Right.
these are the votes for precinct 7. And so you're right, so all the ones that are under 100, we can find out only 3 write-ins. So
Right.
we know that those are the 3, and then there's, which is the slowest over
110, I
100?
believe
There's
this is
a,
110 right
there's a
here.
1, okay, so I see 110 was the lowest. So this is the 110, and that goes over, boy, you're right, how did you figure out these other ones? Because this is not a,
Would you like a,
yeah, look, I got it right here. Okay, you need to go right across the line like this. And,
sorry, folks, if you could, you see what we're looking at here. It's fine print and close
so that's
totals
the 6th
too.
one. So that's Robert Palmer is the 110, right? So, so that should go right here. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Wait, but this is pretty poor, folks. I apologize for this because, so, Michael
that should be.
Schindelman is in, Linda Whitehead is in, Judith Myra Tonello is in, Barbara Shagog is in, Edward Tonello is in, Robert Palmer is in, and Lauren Lesperance is in, and Michelle McCarthy. Those are the 8. Okay,
Right.
very good. That
Again,
was
we
really
can't
tough.
emphasize strong enough that there are probably absentees out there. I know there are absentees out there because I was there at Town Hall when one was handed in today. So some of these totals for town meeting member are very close, one or two votes
One or two
separating.
votes. So these are unofficial,
so-
but there you go. That's
All right, this is
how
just-
they came here from the clerk's office, and
Exactly.
we can see we need work to be done on the way these are lined up, and so we'll work on
Either
that.
that or we got to get magnifying
Well,
glasses.
that's the next step.
That would be. So I think we're probably ready to wrap up here.
Yeah.
Just to recap, if you're just tuning in, Peter Haley, of course, is our newly elected moderator after John Sullivan has stepped down after many years of devoted service to the town. The big surprise probably for the night is Steve Powers' comeback as a member of the Board of Selectmen, defeating incumbent Doug Marmon by a vote of 1,507 to 1,297. Again, preliminary results, but that's not likely to change with any kind of absentee ballots. Of course, George Anderson reelected unopposed to the Board of Assessors. Kerry Bartlett, newcomer, elected to Board of Health. Charles Sekris and Jackie Welch elected to the Planning Board. Michael Schindelman reelected to the School Committee. And Joan Werricks and Ingrid Geist are elected to the Library Board of Trustees.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is that I wouldn't say a surprise so much. We said at the very outset of this program that we had 2 very strong candidates for Board of Selectmen, both very experienced. Steve Powers with 26 years of town-wide office as a selectman, as a school committee member, as an assessor. Doug Marmon, equal kind of time with the town meeting and finance committee, former chair there and selectman, and both having served quite a bit in the community, and both showing strength. Very good race, both showing strength with their supporters. And I think the story of the night can be that Charles Sakris is back after a 30-year period. How many people do you have serve? He was chairman of the planning board in the late 70s, early 80s, and he's been very active for all those years in between. So he's been on a ton of committees. He's done so much for the community, but he's back on the planning board 30 years later. I think his last term expired in '83, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken. And so that's 31 years. And strong showing, very strong showing by Jacqueline Welch. I mean, she was running neck and neck with Charles. Charles won the top of that ticket, but she was very close and ran a nice campaign. So that's another good story for the evening, and
Right.
certainly.
And I think, my terming of the selectmen's race is a surprise, just seeing
Oh,
Steve
yeah.
Powers like circle around
Oh, yeah. No, I
and
know
come
what you
back in.
I know what you meant.
So,
You're a good colleague of both of these gentlemen, so I know
Right.
that you're
right.
right.
No, both, admire both of them for
Yep,
their
exactly.
devotion to the town, and bless them for the number of hours they put in, and
Yep.
it's always, it's a challenge to get good people, and
Yep.
they're both very good. So I think, unless you have anything to add, I think we're ready to wrap up for the evening. I was hoping we'd see some of the candidates down here, but they must be at their
Parties.
victory parties or
victory
or
parties.
consolation parties, if there's such a thing.
I would only add that I enjoy being with you on this show, and I hope that
Yeah.
the viewers were patient with us because it took a little while to get the numbers, and I enjoyed the conversation. And
Yes. As always,
All right,
always,
nice to
it's
be with
always a pleasure here. Like I say, this is our last show in this studio.
That's right.
Next year at this time, we'll be over on Swanton Street, if the stars align. and for a few years as WinCAM moves over to 32 Swanton Street sometime in June, and vacates this space for reconstruction with the renovated Winchester High School, which also, if the stars align, we will be moving back into this building in different space in 2017.
Right, and very nice space, and the community will enjoy that. And as always, you've been active with Winchester Cable since day one, Mr. Ryden, and I can speak for the town how much we appreciate that. And you always do say, we always love having volunteers. You know, we had Linda Doucette was in here doing all this. Linda's been here almost from the day one, probably too. But
right.
Great chance to learn about community access television. Come on in. We would love to see people.
Well, and we're excited, and I think I can speak for the board and the staff here at WinCAM. I think we're very excited about the possibilities over on Swanton Street. We'll certainly have a very visible location, maybe much more conducive to people dropping in and check out community television. We actually did a survey, had a survey commissioned last year that showed that you know, a huge percentage of the town knew about us. I think it was somewhere in the 70s, and I think about 20% of people knew actually where we were. So we're a little bit hidden back here. So we're going to see the next 3 years. We're excited about the technology, the visibility. We're going to be doing some substantial upgrades to our technology here that you're going to see coming in beginning in June, and we're certainly looking forward to greater participation from the town, to greater awareness. And then when we move back into the renovated high school, briefly what we're doing is we're sharing a studio with the town, with the high school. We imagine we'll be helping the town manage that studio and run it, and we'll actually have about, between the studio and our space, our dedicated space, about 1,000 more square feet. So we're going to have more room. We look forward. We've had some talks about integrating more with the high school curriculum. See if there's any budding television journalists out there in our high school system, and so it's a lot of exciting changes coming. Linda Doucette, just off camera here, was helping. Linda Doucette giving us the wrap-up sign. I think she wants
wanted to talk more.
I get the feeling she wants us to go home. Linda, if you just come over for a moment, come on. We want to thank you for working here tonight, and Linda is also the newest member, dedicated volunteer for many years.
That's right.
Here at WinCAM, and you're going to need to move over a little bit to get into the. Come on, just come, keep going, or come back here. Actually, come on back here. Yes, the Helen and Ellen show, and there we go. And
Great job.
thank you. You know, Linda working behind the scenes here,
Great job.
and Linda is also the newest member of the WinCAM Board of Directors too.
Fabulous,
So
fabulous.
I think, am I correct? We're very excited about the possibilities of what's coming up in the next few months. So with that,
That's it.
Alan Iden, Alan McDonald, David Gothier in the control room, and Linda Doucette here in the set. We want to thank you for joining us for election 2014, and ask you to continue to watch WinCAM. We have town meeting coming up at the end of this month, so tune in for that. So for all of us here, thanks for watching. Have a great night.